Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah and this is A Date with Miss Hannah. Don't forget to subscribe and like for more videos. So today we are going to be looking at the period after 1960 or the post-independence period. We want to look at what happened after 1971. But before we go to that, we are going to look at the good old days. This is within the 1960s. So the 1960s are widely regarded as the good old days among Ugandans, mainly because the general standards of living were relatively good. For example, a parent paid only shillings 15 per term in an urban primary school like Bat Valley Primary School. A kilo of sugar cost 45 cents and so did a liter of milk. A bottle of soda cost 65 cents, while a beer cost 1 shilling and 20 cents. A cup of black tea in a trendy Kampala supermarket cost 25 cents, while tea with milk cost 50 cents. A bus ticket within Kampala cost between 25 and 30 cents. Okay, so what they're trying to show us here is that the costs of living were relatively low, leading to good standards of living. So these were regarded as a good old days because things could actually be afforded by various people. So by 1970, Uganda was in the same league with countries such as Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and other countries that have since taken off. That means we had really good statistics. But the question is, where did these rosy statistics go? What happened after the 1960s? So the economy started to deteriorate under the rule of President Idi Amin from 1971 to 1979. His period was characterized by the following. Number one, the 1972 economic war. In 1972 August, Amin expelled Asians, over 70,000 of them, and this caused about the 1972 economic war. Number two is gross mismanagement of the economy by Amin's henchmen and hangers on, also known as the Maftaminji. We had introduction of economic distortions such as price controls, high import tariffs, excessive printing of money, fixed exchange rate regime. So while Amin was in power, there were too many price controls and economic distortions. He simply set high prices when he wanted, very low prices when he wanted, and high import tariffs. There was excessive printing of money, fixed exchange rates, which led to deterioration in the economy. We have physical indiscipline. Physical discipline is literally how government spends money. So with Amin's period, there was physical indiscipline. There was too much spending on unproductive sectors of the economy, such as the military, government, and so many other areas. We had collapse of the formal sector, government tax base reduced. So because he had expelled all these Asians who knew how to trade, the formal sector started decreasing because Africans are normally. Uganda was mainly an agrarian economy. So that is what the indigenous Ugandans did, agriculture. So the guys that had introduced a formal sector are carrying out trade are being expelled. That means the formal sector is going to collapse, also reducing the government tax base because taxes were not that the subsistence sector was not taxed by then. Rather, the trade, the industrial sector, service sector was the one that was being taxed. So if this formal sector reduces, the government tax base is also going to reduce. We had a drastic fall in foreign direct investment because he chased away all the foreigners. So who is going to invest in our country? We also have escalating foreign and domestic debt. So previously, probably we had investments and we had borrowed money from these foreigners, but right now we have no money to pay them. So there's going to be escalating foreign debt and also domestic debt. Probably there are some locals that have lent the government some money, but right now the economy is not doing well, so they're not going to be able to pay. So that is how the debt kept rising and rising. We also have a simple illustration here showing the maximum price controls. The y-axis here is showing us the price of sugar and the x-axis is showing us the quantity of sugar. So this QS here is showing us quantity supplied, QD is quantity demanded. This is the equilibrium price, PX is equilibrium price, and then we have PC as right. That is the price of the sugar. So from there, we're going to have at price PC, more is being demanded than supplied. When you look at this point here, what is being demanded is QS, and what is being supplied is QS, and what is being demanded is QD. So QD is obviously higher. When you look at the x-axis, it is high. It is more than QS. So more is being demanded than what is being supplied. And so every time they set prices lower than the equilibrium price, there's going to be more people demanding for these products because obviously they are cheap. But how much is being supplied? How much is being produced? The production reduced because the factories, the industries, the shops were left to the locals who are unskilled Ugandans who could not run these factories. So production had to reduce. There was delay in production. That is why you look at long queues developed. Demand exceeded supply. These are effects of the price controls. Demand exceeded supply. Long queues developed. There was rationing of the commodity. There was hoarding, that is smuggling, customer discrimination, and price discrimination. Okay, yeah. Here, this S curve or the positive slope is the one showing supply, and then the negative slope, the one curving downwards, is the demand slope. So this table can also keep showing you the evolution of Uganda's economy from 1981 to 1985. In 1981, the country began a program of economic recovery. Now we have come from Amin's period, and now we are going to Obote's period. What happened in 1981 to 1985? In 1981, the country began a program of economic recovery under the second government of Milton Obote. These are indicators. The GDP growth rate, we had 4% in 1981, 5.7% in 1982, 1983 we had 7.4. So when you look at this, it is actually increasing. The GDP is increasing. Just that in 1984 it reduced and then started rising again in 1985, then reduced again in 1986. I think in 1986, this is when we had now NRM government. Then the GDP per capita, this is for individual. You can also see that it was increasing until 1983. Then it decreased in 1982, decreased in 1985, and then decreased also in 1986. Investments increased, savings increased, and we had a decrease in the last 2 years. The exports also increased, and we have a stable export percentage in the last 3 years. Inflation managed to reduce up to 1985, where it rose again, but it was still not a single digit. But this is in percentages. We have external debt managed to increase. Okay, the external debt increased in Obote's period. We had population. The population increased to 15.2 in 1986. So that is literally Obote's period. Next time we come back, we are going to be looking at Uganda's economy in 1987. From 1987 to date, that is going to be the period under NRM government.